Hello, it's good to see you. Today we are going to be making a wreath. It's going to be a spring, kind of a spring themed wreath, and this one's going to be a little, well, it's not going to be all that different, but it's going to be a little bit different for me because I'm actually making this one for myself. Most of the wreaths that I make, I either give away or donate. I've sold a few for charity on my eBay page. I haven't done that in a while. I should probably do that. But this one I'm making for myself because I haven't been able to find a wreath like I want. I've been to several different stores and I can't find what I'm looking for. And then when I do find it, I can't get it because I have a very specific issue that I have to deal with when it comes to the wreaths that I put on my front door. Okay, so I have the front door and then I have a storm door, and so you have that space between them. And I put it on my front door, but it gets really hot in there, especially as you get on into the year. That heat gets trapped in there. So the stuff that I put on the front door has to be resistant to that heat, which means I can't use glue because I discovered if you put anything in there that has glue, the glue melts and the decorative pieces fall off. So that won't work. I found several wreaths and some of the stores that I liked and I would have bought, but the stuff was glued to the wreath, so I can't do that. So I'm going to make a wreath the way I want it, and the good thing about that is you can really customize it. You can make it exactly the way you want. I'm going to make it the way I want it, but I have to make sure not to use any glue, so decorative stuff cannot be glued to it. So that's actually not a huge deal. So I went to Joann Fabrics and Crafts first. Didn't really see anything there I wanted, and they're going through a bankruptcy, and they didn't have a whole lot of stuff out. So didn't find anything there. So then I went to Michael's, and I did find a wreath that I liked, but unfortunately it had glue, so that won't work. So, but while I was in Michael's, I found some flowers. I found some artificial flowers, and I just love the colors of these flowers. It's two separate things. I found this one first. These bouquets like this were on sale. I think they were only $4.99. It was $4.99 or $6.99. It might have been $6.99. What was the original price? There's a tag tucked in here somewhere. I forget. It was some obscene amount. But see, they do that. See, they raise their prices and then everything is on sale pretty much all the time. So then basically you end up paying what you should have paid to start with. A lot of stores do that. Here it is. Oh yeah, it was $20. This was originally $19.99. In Canada, in Canadian, it was $29.99, which I would never have paid $20 for this. I mean, it's okay, but I love the colors. I love the pink, and then you have like this pastel orange on here, and you have the different types of flowers. You have this little stuff. So I really liked it. So yeah, so we're gonna use these, and I picked this one up too. I think this one was $4.99. This one's a little smaller. Oh, look at these little pieces. This was originally $9.99, and I wouldn't have paid $10 for this. So what I'll do is I'll take my wire cutters and I will cut these, and I may honestly just kind of wedge them down in the wreath. I don't know. I think I may actually do that, but my fear is if I try to do that, that one's really pretty. This one right here, I like this one. If I do that, they're going to fall out because, we open and close the front door. The wreath is going to move. I have an interesting issue with my door when it comes to hanging stuff on it. It's wood, so I had to get, and there's no way, I don't want to mess it up. So I bought, it's called a zip and hang. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's really neat, but if you need to hang things and you don't have any way to affix it to the door, I tried several different like suction cup hangers. They didn't work because of the texture. They don't stay. I tried a few other things and it just didn't work. But the zip and hang has these pieces that hang on the corners of the door, and you can adjust it up and down. It has a little hook on it. I found it on Amazon for $20 or something like that. But you can use it to hang things from a door when no other options work. So it's wonderful. That's what I use to hang my wreaths on the door. Right now I do have one up there, but it's kind of old and it's starting to look a little bedraggled, and which is why I decided to make a new one. So I bought one roll of mesh while I was at Michael's. I got this pink right here. I got this pink roll, but I knew I had a bunch of mesh in the attic up in I have some totes up there full of wreath making stuff. So I decided I would just look through there and find some stuff to use. And I found some that I had completely forgotten about. I have this one here. This one's from Joann Fabrics, I believe. And it's kind of like burlap, but it has yellow in it. So I have a bunch of colors here, so I might just use a little bit of each. I think primarily I wanted to see, I thought I had some pastel orange mesh up there, but I didn't. That's okay. I think I want to primarily use pink and green, but I found a roll of white mesh. I actually bought this at Goodwill for $2. But I have white. I found just a plain yellow roll up there. Oh, this one's pretty. Here's a burlap. This is also from Joann Fabrics, but it almost has like a copper color in it and white, so we can use that. And then I found a roll of this light green. So I think primarily I might just go with this. I really wish I could have found some orange, but I don't think it's the end of the world. If I'd known I didn't have any. They had this really pretty pale orange at Michael's. But I didn't get it because I thought I had some, but I did not. So I don't think I'm going to put a lot of ribbon in it. I found this ribbon that was already cut up from another wreath I did, and I really like this yellow here, and there's a thin ribbon that has a little bit of yellow in it. It looks like I only have 2 pieces of that, so I might put those in there. I found this roll of yellow ribbon. This is from Dollar Tree. I've had it forever, and this is really pretty. This is left over from another wreath here. This is from Joann Fabrics and has this pretty floral pattern on it. So maybe I'll put some of that in there too. And of course I have my wreath form. We have our 14-inch wreath form here from Dollar Tree. Now you always want to check these and make sure that they're not coming apart. Sometimes when I pick them up, like these little pieces will have detached. So you don't want to get one that's coming apart. You don't want to squeeze it hard, but just kind of go around, give it a little squeeze or two, and just make sure that it doesn't come apart anywhere. So yeah, this one's good. And yeah, it's really exciting. I have given away all of the wreaths that I have either given away, donated, or sold for charity. Every wreath I've ever made, I have none. I had one, like it was like a Valentine's wreath, but I ended up donating that one last year, I think. So I don't have any at all, and I've made a bunch. People ask me, why don't you make them to sell? Because they take too long, and a lot of times you have so much in the materials. Like this one roll of mesh right here is $10, and I will use the entire thing. This one was also $10, so that's $20 right there, and that doesn't count the decorative stuff, the ribbon. It takes about 3 to 4 hours to make one. I would have to charge too much in order to even make any money. So I'd rather just give them away and just make them occasionally when I want to. That's why I don't sell them, because it's just, nobody would want to pay what I would have to charge. So, alright, now I think for the pipe cleaners, I have so many of these in these little packs like this. I think I'm going to go with, let's do green, orange, and pink. So I'm going to need probably at least 25 of these pipe cleaners, because you cut them in half. And we're going to have at least 50 bundles. I have some orange ones in there. I have all these multiple, these partial packs, like this one. This one has some light pink and green and orange in it. And now it has blush and bashful, 2 shades of pink. Look at that. This is a very pale pink. I'm sure I have more than enough. So there are different ways you can attach things to wreaths. You could use wire. You could maybe lash it to the wreath frame with some wire. I may do that. I could use pipe cleaners to attach the stuff to the wreath form, and I may do that. Just like take a little piece of, like cut a piece off and just twist it on there. That would work. That may be what I do. I probably will need to attach it somehow just so it won't fall out of the wreath as we, go in and out the front door. You're gonna shake it, So, yeah. So we're gonna use the sunburst technique, and that's another thing I have to consider with where the wreath is going. So I have the space between the door and the storm door. And I had both the door and the storm door replaced a couple of years ago, and the spacing between them is different now. They're a little closer together than what I had before. And so whatever I put in there, it can't stick out too far because I don't want to put pressure on that storm door. Over time, that's probably not good for it. So I want to have a wreath that can kind of flatten a little bit when the storm door is closed. So I don't want it to be too puffy. I don't want it to stick out too far. So I have to keep that in mind when I'm doing it. I could do the roll technique, but that tends to be more dense and it doesn't compress down as much. And I know that from mailing lots of them to people, they don't press down as much. So I'm going to use the sunburst technique for that. And I will also have to be mindful of that when I put the flowers in it, because you don't want them sticking out a whole lot either. So this is going to be interesting. I'm not really sure what this is going to look like. I have no idea. I mean, I never know, but I really don't know this time. So we will go ahead and get started, and I will show you how to make the bundles that will make up this wreath. I have prepared some stuff for our bundles. Now, if you haven't seen me do these before, you make little bundles of pieces of mesh and ribbon. If you want to use ribbon, you don't have to. I take the little pipe cleaners and I cut them in half. So we have 3 halves here. I have a pink, orange, and then that light green. I try to cut them roughly in half. They're not exact. They don't have to be. And we have some of our ribbon here. I have the pretty floral ribbons. It's pretty. I love this. I love the little flowers on it. It's so cute. And I have some of this yellow ribbon here. Now, one thing I do to make the ribbon look extra special is I will dovetail the ends of the ribbon. Like I took a piece of this yellow and I cut the ends like this to make it look a little extra special. And it takes a little bit of extra time, but I think it's worth it. I'm going to show you how to do it. It's very simple. You can use any kind of scissors you want to. I just have some plain old little Singer scissors here. And you can do this with any kind of ribbon. It doesn't matter how wide it is. You're going to fold it in half this way, lengthwise. And then you're just going to cut off that little corner so you have your fold here. And you just cut it like that. And you're going to end up with all these little pieces. It's good to keep a trash can nearby to put the little, your scraps in. So here it is again. You just fold it in half lengthwise. And you're just cutting that corner off. And the little pieces go flying and a little mess, but that's okay. So it looks like that. You can do it with wired ribbon as well. No problem. You just fold it again this way so you have your fold over here. You don't have to press it or anything like that. You don't have to put a crease in it or anything. But depending on how deep you want that V to be, you can change your angle of your cut. I just kind of do whatever looks right. And look at that. So to me that looks a little better than just having it straight across. these pieces of ribbon are going to be incorporated into our bundles. Just like that. And yeah, you end up with little bits of mess everywhere, but that's normal. And yeah, I always keep a little trash can nearby to put my little scraps in. I try to clean up as I go. It makes it easier than trying to do it all at the end. I just clean up as I go along. So for the sunburst technique, we're going to show you how to do that. We have a piece of mesh here, and you're going to cut your pieces of mesh approximately 9 inches long. Same with the ribbon. It does not have to be exact. Got your little pipe cleaners. These are going to hold our bundles together. So you don't need any glue or anything like that to hold these together. So you take your piece of mesh. You want to handle it as little as possible. So you don't want to, because, this is good quality mesh, but if you have some from Dollar Tree or somewhere like that, it's not as good of a quality of mesh. And it kind of comes apart if you handle it a whole lot. So we don't want to handle it any more than we have to. You pull it this way. You're just going to grab these little opposite corners here. Just give it a little tug. Hold that tension in there. Walk your fingers in. And you're just going to kind of roll it like that until you make, it looks like a little bow tie. Now you need to hold that, because if you let it go, it's going to spring back to the way it was. This is definitely not 9 inches long. I did not cut that. It doesn't matter. If you cut some a little too short or a little too long, don't worry about it. I do it all the time. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't make any difference. In the overall presentation, it's going to be fine. So again, you take you're still holding this. You can use a little chip clip to hold it, or a clothespin, whatever you want to do. I just hold it between my fingers, and the more you do it, you get faster at it as you go. But I have this little burlap piece here. It's going to pull these opposite corners, hold that tension, and then just sort of roll it up, place it on top of that other piece like that. And then I have this piece of this kind of yellow looking mesh. I'm thinking, because of the way I want to do this one, I don't want it to stick out a whole lot. I was going to say 4 pieces of mesh per bundle. I think I'm actually going to do 3 instead of 4. So it will lay a little bit more flat, which is what I'm going to need for where this wreath is going to go. But normally I'd probably do 4 pieces of this mesh. Now this mesh is more rigid than like Dollar Tree mesh, so it's going to stick out more. If I were using only Dollar Tree mesh, I'd probably do 5 pieces because it condenses down, it collapses down pretty flat. So I have let's just go with 3. And we're going to put a piece of ribbon on top of that, and I'm still holding everything. You see, I don't let it go. You could even do another piece of ribbon on it like this. Like that. Then you just take your pipe cleaner, this one. Now, you lay it across this way, perpendicular, like that. Let's see. I do these all the time. You're going to fold it in half. You can grab it, it's not going to hurt it. And get this kind of even. Give it at least 3 twists, and then you can let it go. There. So, there is our first bundle. Now, I'll give you a little tip. As I make these, I will make 8 to 10 bundles at a time and put them on the wreath form. I go all the way around the wreath form, and that way, like say I only had a little bit of this ribbon right here, but I wanted it to be evenly distributed. I would go ahead and make all the bundles with the ribbon and distribute them evenly, and then just fill in with other bundles maybe that don't have ribbon. Just fill it in as I make those bundles. That way you don't end up with just a clump of ribbon bundles here and nowhere else. It seems like a simple thing, but you would be surprised how long it took me to figure that out. Like, distribute them evenly on the wreath form as you go. Yeah, so I kind of like these colors together. I like the burlap with the green, and then you have this yellow with this pretty ribbon. I don't think I'm going to do a whole lot of ribbon though, honestly. I'm going to do some, but actually I didn't have a ton of this ribbon anyway. This was pretty much all I had on that roll that was left, so I'm not going to have to worry about it. It's already decided that I'm not going to have a whole lot. This is basically it, and that's okay. I'm not worried about it. So here's our first bundle. Let's do another one. I'm working with 4 colors of mesh right now. I have pink, green, burlap, and that yellow looking plaid sort of mesh. I'm going to incorporate some of the others in a little bit, but right now I just have those 4. It's very shiny. Look at that. Some mesh is shiny and some is not. It just depends on the type. So again, I just grab it, pull it a little bit, hold that tension, walk your fingers in and roll it up. It kind of reminds me of, what is the pasta? Is it fusilli, the little bow tie pasta? Is that what it's? I can't remember. It reminds me of that. I think this is going to be a fun springtime wreath. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it turns out. Okay, we have another piece there. Let's do a burlap. I don't know why I cut these so short. I don't know what I was thinking. They're all kind of short, but it really ultimately doesn't matter. So see how pretty they look when you put them together like that? I think they look nice. We'll do another piece of ribbon. Let's just go with this one and not that one this time. I'm alternating my pieces of pipe cleaner here. It doesn't really matter if you have a bunch of pipe cleaner. It doesn't really matter what color it is because it's not going to show anyway. It's going to show on the back side of the wreath, but nobody's going to look at that. It's just me. I just like it to match the wreath, and I have a lot of pipe cleaners in different colors, so I can very easily match the pipe cleaner to whatever I'm doing. Because at one point I just bought a whole bunch of pipe cleaners, and I'm still trying to use them up. That was like 2 years ago. I'm still trying to use them up. I don't know. Okay, but you can use whatever you have. It really doesn't matter. Okay, got a piece of that pretty yellow. Just pull it like this a little bit. And you just roll it up. Hold it however you choose to. Another piece of pink. Pull it. Walk your fingers in. Roll it up. And truly, as you get more practice doing this, you will find that you can do these really fast. You'll be surprised how fast you can make these bundles. And this is something I like to do, like while I listen to a podcast or, watch a movie, because you don't have to dedicate all of your attention to it. So I find it very relaxing to just do this while I'm listening to something or listening to music or whatever. Mostly, though, I end up listening to a podcast. I don't know why. That's just how it typically works out. I've been watching videos about the used car industry lately. I found a YouTuber from the Charlotte area. He's really interesting. He's a used car. He has a used car dealership down near Charlotte, and I've learned so much about the used car industry just watching his videos. I just find it interesting. I like to learn about different things, and I didn't really know anything about, the car sales or anything, but I just find it interesting. So, and he goes through, he goes to auctions, and you get to see videos from the auctions. So lately I've been watching some of his stuff. I'll probably watch some of that while I work on this wreath. But I'll put a link to his channel in the description. It's really interesting if you ever wanted to learn about used car dealerships and how they get their cars, and he answers questions about it. It's just really interesting. Okay, that has nothing to do with this. It's just something I've been learning about lately. So we have this pretty piece. Oh dear, I'm out of pipe cleaners. No, I'm not. Okay, I had them sitting up here like that. Now when you start out with a pipe cleaner, see, it's going to look like this, but you just cut them in half. I have lots of them. So pull like this, hold it, walk it in, like that, hold it, kind of burlap, pull it like that, and put it there. And a yellow. I really love this. Yeah, I bought this at Joann Fabrics. It was part of their seasonal craft supplies. It's not something they have all the time. But I really hope Joann Fabrics can pull out of this bankruptcy, because I tell you, I love going there because I find stuff like this, and I think I got this there too. I find stuff at Joann Fabrics that I don't see at other craft stores, and I really hope they stick around. So I love going there, and their decorative stuff is really cute too, so I hope they make it. Okay, I'm going to do one more. I'm going to use up this last piece of ribbon right here. Okay. But yeah, I encourage people to always never stop learning. I am always trying to learn new stuff. I love to learn new things. I try to learn at least one new thing every day. It's so good for your mind to keep using it like that. So lately I just got interested in learning about the car industry. It's just interesting to me. But that's the great thing about the internet. You can learn about anything. I mean, you could just go on there and learn about anything that interests you. There's a history type YouTube channel that I like to watch, where they make little videos where you can learn about different periods of time in history and just interesting things about that period, and it's just really cool. I love to learn new stuff. Okay, so now we have our wreath form. Now you will see, just because of the way it's made, you naturally have 6 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now what I have found, because I've made a lot of these, using this 14-inch wreath form, I'm going to need about 50 bundles. Now, since these bundles are only going to have 3 pieces of mesh a piece, I'm probably going to need more. Probably more like 55 to 60 bundles, which means if it's 60, it's going to take 30 pipe cleaners, because you cut them in half. So that means if I have 60, I'm going to have about 10 per section here. So like say right now I have these bundles with the ribbon. So when I start attaching these to the wreath form, I will just like start out by putting 1 in each section. But for right now, I'm going to put them all together, but you can very easily remove them and move them around if you want to, because of the way we attach them. And this is great. Now these wreath forms actually have 2 sides. It may not look like it, but it does. You have this one side here that's convex. It kind of goes out like that. That's the front. We're going to be working from the back. Now this is concave, so it kind of caves in back here. This is the back. So now they do come in different colors. This metal has enamel on the outside. This one's kind of a beige color. Typically they're green, but I found these at Dollar Tree that were kind of beige. It doesn't really matter, because after you add everything to it, you're not going to see this anyway. But sometimes they're just different colors. Okay, this is cool. Now we're only going to be attaching stuff to these 2 wires right here when it comes to the bundles. But if I use pipe cleaners to attach the flowers, I could attach them to any of these, just whatever works. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm going to have to play around with that. So you're looking at the back side of the wreath form and the bundle. We're going to take these 2 ends of the pipe cleaner that we used to hold the bundle together. We're going to take them and straddle these two wires right here and then twist them together like that. And then I kind of fold those ends down because it's pokey. Now again, keep in mind, when I actually do it, I'm going to distribute these bundles with the ribbons all the way around the thing. But I'm going to put them together now just to give you an idea of what it looks like when you start to add the bundles to this wreath form. But like I said too, you can very easily move these around. If you are attaching them and you look at it and you don't like it, you can move them if you want to. So again, you just take the two ends of the pipe cleaner, straddle these two pieces, twist them together, do at least 3 twists, and then I tuck those ends under so they're not sticking out. I don't want it to poke anybody. Okay. I'm trying to alternate my pipe cleaners here. Okay. But again, it doesn't matter because when you're done, they're not going to show unless you look at the back side of the wreath. And if somebody wants to look at the back side of your wreath and criticize it, they can just go on home because they need something better to do. It's like the old saying, sweep your own front porch. Go home, sweep your own front porch. Don't worry about mine. Some people just have way too much time on their hands. Okay. So, again, see, it goes fast. You can just twist there. Now, here's what it looks like from the back side. You flip it over. Now, I really don't like all that ribbon together. That bugs me. But this gives you just an idea of what it's going to look like. Now, I only use 3 pieces of mesh per bundle, and I'm liking how flat it lays. That's good. That's what I'm going to want because of where it's going. I don't want it to stick out a whole lot. I'm thinking I'll be able to attach the flowers down in here in between the bundles. But I'm going to redistribute these and keep making bundles and adding them to the wreath form here. And then we're going to come back and see, before we add the flowers, you can come back and see what it looks like. Okay, I have finished creating the bundles, adding them to the wreath form, and I did a little experiment while I was looking at the flowers, and I tried something. But here we have the wreath without any flowers added to it yet. You can see that we do have some ribbon in here. There's not a whole lot. We do have some here and there. And so it's there, and you can see the different colors. We have green, white, pink. We have that pretty little yellow plaid, burlap. There's some burlap in there. So I like the colors. I wish I had had some of the pale orange to put in here, but I think it'll be okay without it. I really wish I had had that, but I didn't want it bad enough to go to the store, so I didn't worry about it. And here's how it looks on the back. You can see we have the pink, orange, and green pipe cleaners going all the way around. But again, this isn't going to show, unless you look at the back for some reason. So as I mentioned when we first started on this, I want to find a way to attach the little flowers without using any glue. But I was also thinking that we have the space issue. You don't want it to stick out too far. Now, typically, a lot of times when I make wreaths, I will put in the flowers and the decorative bits so they kind of face out this way. But if I'm trying to keep it flat, I don't know that I want them sticking out this way. I think I want them sticking out more like this way, the way the mesh goes. So while I was putting the bundles on the wreath form, I had an idea. And so I took a little sprig, you can see it right here, this little sprig. I cut this with my little cutters, and I just stuck it down into the bundle itself. Now it was kind of difficult because the end of the little stem there kept trying to catch on the mesh, but I was able to work it down into the mesh and get it to stay, and it is kind of sticking out this way, which is what I want it to do for this particular wreath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just cut my flowers, and go around and put more in there like that. Now the flowers themselves are not attached to the stems with glue. These little flower petals, the little flowers, are just pushed down onto the stem. And you can actually just pop them off, but they are not attached with glue, so that is not an issue. So nothing about this wreath should be a problem, hopefully. But I guess if it is, I'll just move it. I have a door on my side porch. A lot of times if I have wreaths that I like, but they just don't work on the front door because of the heat or because they're too thick, put them on my side door over by the side porch so I can still see it and enjoy it. It's just not on the front door. So I kind of like it just the way it is, honestly. So I think just for a general springtime wreath, I think the colors are good. I really like it. Now this took me, it didn't take me as long. I'm not really sure what happened. It took me about, I would say a little over 2.5 hours, well maybe 2 hours, to create all of these bundles to attach them to the wreath form. There are a lot, as you can see, because each one of these little bits that you see, that's a bundle. And each bundle has 3 pieces of mesh in it. I'm not going to do a centerpiece on this. I'm just going to leave it just like this in the middle. And I think when I put it on there, it's going to collapse down just fine. I don't think it's going to be a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my little flowers and work them down in there. And when we come back, we'll see how it looks. I have finished adding all of the flowers to the wreath, and for the first time ever, I added all of them to the wreath. I think I went a little bit overboard, but I just kept adding them because I liked them so much. Usually when I add flowers to a wreath, I don't add anywhere near all of them. I always have some left over that I will save for something else. All of the flowers from both of the little bouquet things I showed you, I put them all in there. And no hot glue. I just stuck them down into the bundles. And I like it. I think it's definitely spring. Look at all these pretty flowers. Oh my gosh. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I think that's pretty cool. Now again, I have to keep in mind the thickness of the wreath because it's going to be between the storm door and the front door. I think it's going to be okay. It's going to get smushed a little bit, which is fine. Yeah, but it's actually not as, it doesn't stick out as much as a lot of them do, because when I was adding these bundles, I tried to kind of flatten them out. So in some places you are going to see the pipe cleaners, whereas normally you don't, because I fluffed them out a little bit more, and with this one I just kept it flat. But I'm very happy with it. So this is pretty cool. I actually made one for myself, and I'm going to put it on my door. Oh, so I don't think it actually matters that I didn't have that light, that pale, the pastel orange mesh that I wanted to have. I think it's actually fine because you do have a lot of the orange in the flowers, so I think it's okay. So yeah, there we have it, my spring wreath for my front door. Let me know in the comments if you like it. I think it turned out pretty cute. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed getting to see this little wreath come into being. I'm very happy with it. And thank you so much for being here. I really hope that you have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.